Hello again, I'm Robert Fithen. Is the vinyl resurgence over? Billboard just put out a report that vinyl record sales are down 34.9 million last year. This year, just 23.3 million. So that means they're down 33.3%, according to Billboard. And it's got the vinyl community in a whirl. Actually not. I haven't really seen anybody make any videos about this yet, so I wanted to get on top of this. But I have seen some things on the internet because Billboard put out the report, so then all of these other websites basically just copy and pasted what they said, made it seem like it was their own story, and put out the report as well. So vinyl sales down 33.3% is all over the internet, and the first thing I thought when I saw it, 33.3%, is this some sort of joke? Are we being trolled by Billboard? 33.33% record sales down. What next year, is it going to be 45%? Year after that, it's down 78%. That's just a really odd number, 33.33. But anyway, so yeah, everybody was talking about it. Everybody was giving their opinion as to why. And, you know, records are too expensive was probably the leading thing that people thought. You know, people are not just buying records anymore because, you know, they're just too expensive, you know, and I can see it, you know, so records are getting up there, $39 for a record, just one record, you know, brand new, $39, $45 for a single record, just regular, and then that's not counting all the audio file release. I did a whole video on that about how, you know, you $200 for one album, a brand new, but yeah, so there was that theory, and then there were a few other things being thrown around, and then it comes out, oh, wait a minute, actually vinyl sales are up 6.2%, according to Luminate, which is the company that Billboard uses to determine record sales. So Luminate comes out and says, yeah, we changed our model, we changed our way of configuring sales last year, so there's really no way to compare sales from this year to sales from last year because we changed our model. And then they went on to say, yeah, 6.2% is, they're actually up, which they just said there's really no way to compare year to year. So I thought that was a little odd too. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle there. I'm not really sure. I mean, I know that every time any little thing happens, people are just ready to say, the vinyl resurgence is over. I remember Merch Bar had a clearance sale. And a couple videos were put out, people going, it's over, it's over. Birch Bar is having a clearance sale, the vinyl resurgence is over. Bubble has burst. Walmart and Target, I've noticed, and I've also seen some reports on this, how they're selling, they have fewer vinyl records to sell. And that certainly is the case that I've seen with Walmarts in my area. They used to have, 2 or 3 rows, huge long rows of just records, and now it's just one little section. They still have those ridiculous shelves that are not good to present vinyl records to the world, but they still are using those. They never did come out with an actual stand or thing that you can put records in and actually flip through. I don't know why they haven't done that yet, but so yeah, this has been going on for a few years now, where every little thing happens and people are like, done, vinyl records are over. So at least this has been corrected or attempted to be corrected, and some of the sites, including Billboard themselves, have now updated that story saying, well, maybe we spoke a little soon, it was a 6.2% increase actually, but that's still not as big of an increase as the previous year, so vinyl sale increases are down. So yeah, that's all going on right now. My question is, do you care? I mean, obviously, if you're in the business of selling records, you would keep an eye on this kind of forecasting, and you would care about if vinyl record sales are up or down or whatever. If you own a record store, or maybe you make a lot of your money selling records at record shows or online or whatever, and it's kind of like a side business for you, yeah, you would care if vinyl records, the sales were up or down. But aside from that, if you're just a record buyer like myself, who kind of maybe occasionally sells a few records here and there, do you care? Is that going to affect whether you buy records or not, or how many you buy, or what? Is it something like, well, if other people aren't buying records anymore, I'm not going to buy them anymore. I'm definitely not like that. I'm going to keep on buying records. I don't care. As long as I'm interested in them, I don't care if other people are buying them or not buying them. So I'd be interested to hear what you think about that. Does the ups or downs of vinyl record selling affect the way that you're going to purchase records? One thing, if vinyl sales are down, I mean, that's going to be tough for people who sell records for a living, but for record buyers, that'd probably be a really good thing, because it means prices are going to go down. Because it means that there's going to be more records to choose from as far as used records, which isn't even put into this equation. You know, a lot of people don't even really buy a lot of new records. They just buy used ones. So there'll be a lot more of those available, especially if people who previously bought vinyl records and now have lost interest are getting rid of their record collections. So, you know, that could be good news that if vinyl record sales actually do start to fall. People will be like, yeah, there'll be a lot more records out there to choose from and the prices will be low. I don't think we may never get back to the days when Dark Side of the Moon was an $8 record like it was back in the 90s or whatever, but, you know, the prices could start coming down where we could start having some more fun, flipping through records and, you know, going to a record store and coming out with a nice handful of records instead of one for $39. I mean, that would be great. But we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, the bubble's got to burst eventually. I mean, especially since there are so many different types of people buying records. I mean, you've got people like me who have been buying records for decades who never really stopped. I mean, my interest did go way back up in the last 10 years or especially 5 years or so. But I always was going to record conventions and whatever and picking up the bargain records whenever I get, you know, $2 records or whatever. I always was doing that. I will say this, there never was a time in my life since I've been 3 years old where I didn't have a record player in my room or then later in my house or apartment where it wasn't hooked up and ready to play at any time. I never was one of those people that unhooked the turntable, put it away, and just had a CD player. I never was like, I always had a turntable hooked up, ready to play. These days, I actually have an 8-track player hooked up and ready to play at all times, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, I always was still at least somewhat interested in records and buying records. That never went away. I don't think it ever will. You know, thinking about my mortality lately and, you know, what's going to happen to all these records, including all the ones off screen that you never see. I don't know. I don't have children, don't have anybody to leave them to. So, you know, there might be a time when I start really, I mean, not just pulling out a few records here and there and selling them, but actually purging, you know, 3/4 of the collection. You know, I might have to move into assisted living at some point, years down the road, couple of years down the road, whatever. Move into a nursing home or what? What's going to happen to all these? I don't want somebody just to walk in here and just, I don't want to happen what I see at estate sales, where you walk in and people, you know, the person's no longer living there for whatever reason, and people are just going through all these great, you know, $40, $50, $100 records and getting them for $2. I don't want that to happen. I'll be rolling over in my grave if I'm dead if that happens. But I've seen that happen. It's not pleasant to think about. But so yeah, there's that, and then, you know, just thinking about things like that. But I think that there are people who buy records, younger people who have been buying them maybe now for 5 or 6 years. You know, maybe they started during the lockdown, and now they've amassed a collection of maybe 30 records, maybe 50 records, and maybe they're like, you know, they got their little case, and that's their collection, and maybe they're kind of like, all right, I've got a nice collection of records here. This is like my little hall of fame of artists and my favorite records. I don't really need to keep buying more and more and more. You know, not everybody's like me. Not everybody has this music addiction where they just keep having to have more. I got to feed the monkey. You know, not everyone's like that. I don't know what's going on in my head with buying all these records, but yeah, I'm sure people have record collections where they're fine now. You know, they've got their little record collection, 20, 40, 50 records, and they're good. They don't feel the need to have to start to keep buying at that rate. So I can see that kind of making people kind of step back from buying records. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, price of records going up is going to make people kind of second guess whether, you know, do I really need this? I don't really need another color variant, you know. I don't really need to buy this because this one's in the shrink. This one has the sticker. This one is the limited edition, whatever, you know, that kind of double, triple, quadruple dipping on the same title, you know, so I can see that. So, but some of these reports, you never know what to believe. You never know how skewed it is. I remember this report came out one time that, this is only a couple of years ago, and everybody just went crazy about it, where it said something like 2/3 of vinyl record buyers don't own a record player. Or it was, I don't remember what the exact number was. Maybe it was like, you know, I don't know, 32% or something like that. Maybe it was 33.33% of record buyers don't even have a record player. And everybody went, oh, those millennials are just buying records. They don't even listen to it, blah, 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 blah. Not taking this into account. Like, I have a niece, right? I just visited her in Cleveland. She's the one that lives in Cleveland. She's the reason I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that. She started getting into records like maybe 4 or 5 years ago when she was a older teenager, like 19, 20 years old or whatever. And she was buying records for herself. I bought her a few records for graduation and maybe Christmas or something like that, okay? Also, I know that her brother has bought her records as a gift. Her mom has bought her records. Her dad has bought her records. Her grandmother, when she was still alive, bought her a couple of records for birthday, Christmas. Her aunt bought her records for birthday and Christmas. So here's 2 people that have bought this woman records who have a turntable. Here's 5 people who have purchased records for her who do not have a turntable. So right there, in that one instance, you've got 5 to 2 don't have a turntable buying records, have a turntable buying records. But these 5 people are buying records for this person who has a turntable. So all the records that are being bought are actually being listened to on a turntable. It's just that these people are buying them as gifts. And, you know, I work, like I've said before, I work once a week at a record store just for fun, just for the experience, and it's great. Very eye-opening, love it. And I see people all the time coming in talking about, I'm buying a record for my grandson just got a turntable. My daughter just got a turntable. My sister just got a turntable. Whatever. I'm buying them a record for Christmas, for their birthday, just because I want to. I don't have a turntable, but they do, and I'm buying it for them. So even that little report that came out talking about, 23 or 42% of whatever it was, people who buy records don't have a turntable. That's nothing to freak out of. There's a thing called gifts. So, still enjoy getting records, though. I probably always will. There's nothing like the thrill of going to, like I said, an estate sale or something like that, and finding something like this, as I mentioned in a few videos back, a Germs original for $5, or maybe it was $3. That's just thrilling to me. I mean, that's the kind of thing that makes me happy. Going into Riverbend Records in Godfrey and finding the exact pressing of Accept's Breaker album on Brain Records. A German pressing of this that I've wanted forever, but didn't want to, buy it and pay for postage from Germany and all that, and on the internet, you never know what you're going to get. Found this. Oh my God. Had to get it. Very thrilling. New records. Some of them very expensive, but you can still find ones that aren't like high on fire here with this vocalist who's a little up there in age, but has incredible pipes. Still buying newer titles as well. Notice I didn't say new, I said newer. But yeah, still buying some newer titles on vinyl as well. If I'm going to buy an album, that's the way I'm going to buy it now on vinyl, not CD anymore. So yeah, who knows? Maybe CDs will come back. Maybe everybody will be buying CDs. That's why I kept all of these. But I want to know what you think. What does the people buying or not buying records affect the way that you feel about buying records? If record sales go up or go down, or bottom drops out, are you going to care? Are you going to stop buying records? Are you going to buy more records? Let me know in the comments, and we'll talk about it, because I love discussing records with people, and I thought I'd make this video because, like I said, I didn't see anybody else making a video about this, and the story was all over the internet, all over message boards, everybody talking about it. So I thought I'd throw this up on YouTube. Blech. And record sales down 33.3%. Still a very strange number to put on record sales there, but it turned out maybe that's not so true after all. I'm Robert Fitton. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I will talk to you again soon.